Hello everyone, and we're back with some Ben 10 vids. Today is gonna be a little weird if I'm gonna be honest. Today we are going to be talking about the, how do you say it?
Chaquetrix.
Yeah, that. To make it easier for me, I'm just gonna call it the Chaquetrix, so I can actually say it. But anyway, this video is going to be explaining exactly what it is, what it does, and the story behind it. So, yeah, get strapped in, because this is probably going to be a long video. Most of the lore stuff is going to be from this creator right here, which most of their stuff comes from Twitter, and they also speak Spanish. So, most of this stuff is going to be Google translated, so it might be a little rough, but, some of you guys can help me out in the comments in case, I mess something up. So, yeah. Of course, I'm not going to be going over every little, tidbit, mainly just things that are just different from the original. But if you want to go and, know more about it, then go over to their Twitter. I will have them, their Twitter in the description. Again, just as a reminder, they are Spanish. So get your Google Translate ready. Or just translate it normally if you know Spanish. That would be pretty useful. Now let's start off with why was the Chaquetrix even made in the first place? Well, the reason it was made is because Max somehow convinced Azimuth to just make it. Because apparently he convinced them that the only way that you can have all, life kind of understand each other in the universe is by having them being able to reproduce with each other. Which, okay, you go Spanish people making shit like this. Of course, just like the original, Vilgax wanted it specifically to, well, make an army of alien species, which makes sense. But he also wants to make them specifically hybrids so that they can have the best powers of all of the different species, which is actually a nice kind of turning point. Of course, it then crash lands, and, well, you know what happens next. Going on to the Chaquetrix itself, um, it's pretty much exactly the same as the original, except instead of just turning into aliens, it actually just summons them. Of course, its main purpose is to, well, reproduce. And what it does is that it takes the DNA of the host and kind of splices it with the DNA of the selected species. It makes a compatible mate for them. Luckily for us, we don't have to see any of that because the prototype kind of screws up and the aliens don't really know that that's the purpose of the Chaquetrix, which thank God. What they actually think is that they feel romantical love for Ben. And if Ben asks them, hey, do this heroic stuff or whatever, they're like, yes, sir. And then they just go do it. So basically, they're just Ben's personal superheroes, which is actually kind of cool when you think about it. And of course, all of them have their own different personalities, and I'll be going over the four that they have already, talked about anyway. First, let's talk about Heatblast, and they don't really have a little sheet talking about Heatblast, surprisingly enough, but they do have art of Heatblast, which you can see on the screen. I'm assuming Heat Blast is supposed to be really nice and, all of that in comparison to many of the others who are technically supposed to be nice, but they have different personalities, as I said. We don't really know what Heat Blast's personality is supposed to be, but I don't know. What we do know is that they are technically supposed to be slightly weaker than the original, so they probably don't have as much firepower as original Heat Blast. But, it shouldn't be too far apart, if you know what I mean. Next is Accelerate, and obviously, just like Heat Blast, they are probably slower than regular Accelerate, and their personality is kind of a biker personality, like a biker girl personality, apparently. She can also be incredibly confident and self assured, and, all that. And of course, because of the, screwy stuff going on with the Chaquetrix, they're more Kinesolaran than human. Continuing on to Wild Mutt, and this one's actually way different than the original, and they're kind of mostly human with, some traces of Vulpomancer. Although they act a lot like a Vulpamancr, almost like a dog, kind of. And of course, they walk around like on fours mainly because of that and stuff. And apparently, they really like it when Ben pets them. So yeah, they act like a dog. And lastly, we have Ghost Freak, which is the weirdest one out of all of them since it's technically still Zscare. And no, I'm not kidding you like with this. He doesn't split off or anything like that. Because he's in this Chaquetrix, his DNA does still get altered, so he just gets sex changed, which I feel bad for him. This also means that, well, you know, he now has feelings for Ben, although because of that, he actually just kind of tries to repress them, kind of like a tsundere. And you're probably wondering, it's like, wait, but like he's just still around? Yep, he just stays around Ben because he's apparently too afraid of Asmith killing him. So yeah, he just stays with Ben, so he just doesn't die, which is kind of funny. And yeah, that's really all the aliens that we have so far. They do have some questions and stuff about other aliens, like Alien X, which apparently Bellicus and Serena act like parents to the main personality, which is cute. And there's some other stuff, but if you want to actually look and see, the different things or them answering questions, they do that on Twitter, so you can go ahead and just go to their Twitter. I'm not going to just spoil everything for their stuff. Just go onto their Twitter, and if you can't figure out what they're saying, then just Google Translate it or whatever, like I did. So yeah, or you can just learn Spanish, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about this. If you like this video, well, like it. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, and I might talk about that other one, which, oh, when I make that video, I'm gonna have nightmares that night. But anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.